Back here in the station, we're joined by former prosecutor Katherine Loftus, also known on TikTok at Note My Objection. So why don't we start with those text messages that were introduced into evidence at the end of the day. A lot of context there about the quality of their relationship, Karen Read and John O'Keefe. Did you hear anything in those text messages that go to the Commonwealth's motive that Karen Read wanted to kill him?
So they don't actually have to prove motive. What they do have to prove as part of the second-degree homicide charge is intent. I don't see anything contained within those text messages that leads to that. I do think, like you said, it gives a little bit more context because what we've heard is a lot of testimony about different witnesses who talked about their good relationship. And I think, as anyone knows, the public-facing relationship is often very different from the private relationship. So I do think it might give a little bit of context to the jury to explain maybe what was really going on behind the scenes, not only that day, but in the bigger picture of their relationship.
Yeah, I guess in a courtroom, in a way, you want the jury to internalize this as putting themselves into the story. Perhaps all of us can relate to having a relationship that faces stresses. Rarely does it motivate somebody to kill somebody.
No, and it... Again, we haven't seen all of it. The Commonwealth, Adam Lally, started to present these text messages towards the end of the day. And I thought we had a little bit of momentum, and then he seemed to, there was a little bit of paper shuffling and wasn't sure where to go next. I wasn't clear whether he was trying to run out the clock a little bit to leave the jurors with certain text messages. But I do think that it showed that maybe there's a little bit more background that we should be paying attention to that hasn't been the focus of the case so far. Do I think it proves, why she wanted to allegedly kill him or hit him or the intention? No, I don't. But I do think it helps give a little bit of context.
Let's talk about the text messages that came out late today, especially because last week we heard Trooper Proctor's text messages, and they revealed so much about him. But the text messages we heard today, I'm not sure how much they revealed. I don't know. As I said to Katherine, I'm not sure if these are the normal stresses of a relationship or something more. What's your take?
So I think what the jury is going to have to take away from this is, yes, these text messages, if nothing had happened to John O'Keefe, if he were alive and well today, and he and Karen either were still together or they broke up, you might look at this, it's sort of like, hey, I got really mad at you for what you did this morning. I'm mad at you too. Don't forget to pick up milk. Don't forget the nephew has to go to the doctor. Be careful, it's going to be a blizzard out there. There was just sort of the everyday stuff, along with, the fact that we found that Karen called him a super number of times between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m., and John was not answering the phone. And they were talking about breaking up, but he said he's sorry, and he said, what do you want me to do? I'm still sorry. So it was kind of a window into a relationship. She said it was feeling toxic. Do you want to just leave me? And again, if nothing had happened to John O'Keefe, you might just look at that like, well, it's just everybody has these sort of relationships. The jury was paying close attention to these messages. I feel bad for the trooper who had to read them out loud.
He seemed not to enjoy it.
He did not, and he had a hot mic moment, which I think we all can sympathize with. And I often wonder, why can't we just hire people to come in and read these text messages? It might have had a deeper impact if this trooper didn't feel like this was a burden he had to do. But again, it's building up to something that we think is coming. So again, to the earlier point, maybe if we had gotten the payoff on the voicemails that we know are coming, it might have meant a lot. Now the jurors have a couple of days. They're not going to be back in court until Thursday. So they'll be thinking about this text message and exchange. And we all bring our own biases to this.
Sure.
Like, if you've had relationships with this, you might think it's normal or you think it's just somebody who acts that way. If you've never had a relationship where you've broken up or you think someone's cheating on you or you have issues where you have to call someone a million times or you have to be in a relationship with someone who calls you a million times, it may seem strange. But again, John O'Keefe ended, that night dead, by the morning. And that's the tragedy here, and that's what shapes the entire text exchange.
Okay, Sue O'Connell, thanks.